What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Behind Show. Today is May 6, 2021, and today's video, today is Thursday, so we could go with the beginning of the 2021 NFL Draft. I'm going to do some draft grades today. I'm going to be doing some draft grades of the AFC East. There's lots of very nice draft picks coming out of the AFC East, like the Dolphins, Bills, Patriots, and Jets. All those teams have pretty nice drafts. So let's go ahead and get started, doing some draft grades for the AFC East for each team. I'll be grading each individual pick for every team. So we'll start off with the Miami Dolphins. 6 overall, the Dolphins had 2 first-round picks. With their first-round pick, with the 6 overall, they select Alabama wide receiver Jalen Waddle. I give this pick a B. Wasn't a bad pick, but I just really think they should have took Penei Sewell. Everybody talks about the Bengals, how they should have took Penei Sewell over Jamar Chase. The Bengals took Chase at 5, but at 6, the Dolphins also took a wide receiver over the top offensive tackle in the draft. And actually, the Dolphins' offensive line was worse than the Bengals last season. So I really think the Dolphins should have went with an offensive tackle at 6 in Penei Sewell. And I don't think it's a bad pick for Miami. I do think that they could have had better options. But overall, I think it was a pretty decent pick there for Miami at number 6. Like I said, they have 2 first-round picks, and with their second first-round pick, they selected Miami, Florida edge rusher Jalen Phillips. I gave this pick an A. I like this pick quite a bit. Jalen Phillips, I think he should have been probably the best edge rusher. The first edge rusher off the board. Getting him at 18 was a really nice pick. It was kind of either him or Kwity Paye, basically a hometown guy playing in Miami, Florida, playing in Miami. I like that pick a lot because Miami desperately needs some guys coming off the edge. With their second-round pick, they have 2 second-round picks, just like they had 2 first-round picks. With their first second-round pick, this to me was it was a head-scratcher pick, honestly. They took Oregon safety Javon Holland. I gave this pick a B. Javon Mowbray, the best safety in the draft from TCU. Despite being the best safety in the draft, he was still extremely underrated. And Landon Dickerson, the center from Alabama. He dropped a little bit due to medical issues. Really thought Miami would have picked him up due to his chemistry with Tua Tagovailoa in college at Alabama. They did not. Instead, they go to Javon Holland. I gave it a B. I even thought about giving it a B minus. This pick really, to me, was very confusing. Did not make much sense. He wasn't even the best player available at his position. He wasn't a top 5 player available. And, they picked, and not many picks. They only picked in 6 picks. And this was the 36th pick. They had a pick and the 42nd pick. He was more than likely going to be here with their second-round pick. I'll give this a B. Speaking of their second-round pick, I did not really like this pick either. They took Notre Dame offensive tackle Liam Eckenberg. I give this pick a B minus. Creed Humphrey, the center from Oklahoma, was not picked before here. Samuel Cosman, offensive tackle from Texas, and North Dakota State offensive tackle Dylan Reynolds were all 3 available here. I thought all 3 of those players were much better options than Eckenberg. I was not really high on Eckenberg like most people. I gave this pick a B minus. Really thought they could have done better. I know lots of people think the Miami Dolphins had a great draft. I don't think they had a bad draft, but I really think there's a couple picks where they maybe should have picked a different player. For instance, like Waddle, getting maybe Penei Sewell over him. Here with Eckenberg, maybe getting Cosmi, Creed Humphrey, or Dylan Reynolds. I'm taking those guys 100% before I take Liam Eckenberg. So that's a B minus pick. Round 3, they took Boston College tight end Hunter Long. I give this pick a B. I like this pick quite a bit. I thought if they're going to take tight end in round 3, it should either be Hunter Long or Brevin Jordan. But the Texans got a great steal in Brevin Jordan. And the Dolphins got a pretty nice pick up here in Hunter Long with the 81st pick overall. Mike Gesicki is a really nice target for Tua, but he's actually a free agent after the season. I think getting Hunter Long here is a good pickup. I give that pick a B. The Dolphins, they had 2 firsts and 2 seconds and a 3rd. But after that, there's a huge drop-off with their next picks. They had 2 7th-round picks that closed out. With their first 7th-round pick, they selected UMass offensive tackle Larnell Coleman. I gave this pick a B because Coleman was one of the better offensive tackles available here, and they could use a little bit more offensive line help. It's more of a pickup here. I thought it was pretty nice by Miami. They closed out with their second 7th-round pick. They selected Cincinnati running back Jared Dokes. I give this pick a B because the Dolphins running back ability is not nearly as good as people think. I think getting Dokes here was a pretty good pickup. I would also like to see them get Kylan Hill, the running back from Mississippi State, here as well. I really thought that would have been a great pickup for Miami, but they take Dokes from Cincinnati, which isn't bad either. So the overall grade for the Miami Dolphins, I actually gave them a B. Like I said, I don't think their draft was bad, but I really think it could have been a lot better. So as we continue here, if you're just tuning in, I'm doing a AFC East draft grades for each AFC East team. I'm grading each individual pick. Up next is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills picked 30th overall in the draft, and with their first-round pick selection, they took Miami Florida edge rusher Gregory Rousseau. I liked this pick quite a bit. Rousseau, to me, is one of those players, so I think he's a boom or bust situation. Lots of people are not really high on Rousseau because he did not play last year. And the year prior, he had lots of sacks. But, in a game, he'll have 2 sacks, but you won't see him the rest of the game because it just seems like he disappears and doesn't do anything. But the Bills, their top need heading into the draft was edge rusher. Gregory Rousseau was arguably the best player here. It made quite a bit of sense. I gave this pick an A. I thought it was really well done here by Buffalo. In round 2, they take another edge rusher and Carlos Basham Jr. from Wake Forest, the edge rusher. I love this pick here. I think this is tremendous value getting Basham here in the 2nd round. Basham here, 61st overall. That's tremendous value. And you're not taking a team need here. You're taking best player available, and it's also a team need. So it really works out well for Buffalo. I also give that pick an A. I just really, really like that pick a lot. As we continue here in round 3, they took a sleeper pick, and it's also a steal, in my opinion. They took Northern Iowa offensive tackle Spencer Brown. I also give that pick an A. And the Buffalo Bills had some really nice picks in this draft. I think Spencer Brown with a 93rd pick overall, I would consider that a steal. Spencer Brown played at Ohio State, Alabama, something like that. Many people would regard him as a first-round pick. Getting more protection for Josh Allen in round 3 while getting team needs and best player available in round 1 and 2, and arguably even round 3 as well. Buffalo really had a really, really nice draft. They did not have a 4th-round pick, but with their 5th-round pick selection, they took Miami, Ohio offensive tackle Tommy Doyle. I gave this pick a B. Doyle, it might have been a little bit early here, maybe just a tad bit, but I like this pick quite a bit. Doyle was probably the best offensive tackle here available. They could use more offensive line help. They did not take an offensive lineman until round 3. But Doyle, to me, he had a great pro day with Miami. Really helped his draft stock a lot. Around January, he was around the 200 and 220 range on big boards. He's 161st pick here. Really helped his stock a lot. This pick for Buffalo was pretty decent. In the 6th round, this might be my favorite pick for the Buffalo Bills. In the 6th round, I took Houston wide receiver Marquez Stevenson. I gave this pick an A+ because Marquez Stevenson, I think getting a little bit more weapons for Josh Allen was mandatory, and it was getting Marquez Stevenson here with 203rd pick is amazing value. It's a great pick. Marquez Stevenson is very underrated. I'm not sure why he fell this far. He's a speedster, and he's not really been talked about much at all. People talk about Jalen Darden being a speedster and how he's going to be great, and I'm one of those people. But people just do not talk about Marquez Stevenson because he's very similar to Jalen Darden, who was actually drafted in the 4th round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Losing John Brown to the Raiders in free agency, gaining Stevenson here, I think he'll take over Brown's spot and be really, really good in the Buffalo Bills offense. So I gave this pick a grade of A+. Now, they also had another 6th-round pick, and with their second round pick, they took Pittsburgh safety DeMar Hamlin. I gave this pick a grade of A. They could use more safety depth. I think Hamlin was arguably the best player here available. Micah Hyde's getting up there in age. I would not have been shocked if they took safety even earlier in the draft. But I really like DeMar Hamlin here. I think it's a great pick. I think it's a team need. It's one of the best players available. And, kind of In these picks, when it goes to the later rounds, it's always best to take best player available over team need. Actually, the Buffalo Bills kind of took a team need and best player available, so I thought that really worked out well for Buffalo, so I gave them an A here. They actually had the pick right after this, 213th overall, and they selected Wisconsin cornerback Rashad Wildgoose. They could use a little bit of corner depth here. Wildgoose is one of the better corners available. I don't know if he was I don't think he's one of the best players available, but I don't think it was a bad pick. I gave it a grade B. I thought it was a nice pick by Buffalo. With their last pick of the draft, the 7th round, with the 236th pick overall, they selected Texas Tech guard Jack Anderson. I gave this pick a grade B. They could use more guard help, a little more depth at the offensive line to protect Josh Allen. Anderson was the best guard available. He was one of the better players available, so I thought that was well done by Buffalo. And overall, I gave the grade for the Buffalo Bills an A. I thought they were really, really good, especially their first 3 picks with Robbie Russo, Carlos Basham Jr. for Wake Forest, and Spencer Brown. Those picks to me were all tremendous value picks. They were team needs, and they were all the best player available. It was a great draft by the Buffalo Bills. Speaking of great drafts and great value, next up is the New England Patriots, and with their first-round pick, they took Matt Jones, the Alabama quarterback. Gave this pick an A+. This was tremendous. Matt Jones falling to 15 reminds me a little bit of Bo Callahan in the movie Draft Day. Lots of people expected him to go number 1, and then he dropped into the top 5. Lots of people expected Matt Jones to be number 3 overall to the San Francisco 49ers. He drops 15 to the Patriots. This is a match made in heaven for the Patriots, Bill Belichick, and Matt Jones. I don't think you can get better than this. I know lots of people wanted Justin Fields to the Patriots. I think Matt Jones would be better off with the Patriots than Justin Fields. Matt Jones, when I did my top 5 quarterback rankings, my top 5, Jones was my 5th, but he was the only quarterback I did not really have a comparison for. As I watched more on Matt Jones, I'm not saying he's Tom Brady. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Tom Brady. I'm simply saying if you watch Matt Jones' film, the similarities between Tom Brady and Matt Jones are very similar. They do everything good, but they do nothing really outstanding. Also, his pocket awareness is phenomenal. He is so freaking smart, and that aspect reminds me a little bit of Tom Brady. This was a fantastic pick here for the Patriots. They could not have got any better pick here unless they were to trade up. And in the second round, they actually traded up with the Cincinnati Bengals. They traded their 46th pick and 2 fourth-round picks to the 38th, and they selected another Alabama Crimson Tide player in defense tackle Christian Barmore. I give this pick an A+. I thought this was phenomenal. Barmore was arguably the best player available here, and in true Belichick fashion, he normally takes best player available. They could really use some help on defense because their defense struggled quite a bit last season. Barmore was the best defense tackle available, and he fell to 38th, and it was really surprising. I was surprised he dropped out of the first round. Patriots get tremendous value getting Barmore at 38th when he could have been gone at 20, and he drops to 38th. Getting Jones at 15, getting Christian Barmore at 38th are 2 phenomenal picks in itself, but that's just tremendous value getting both those players. So I'll give this Christian Barmore pick here an A+, and I really, really like it a lot. Speaking of great value, in round 3, they had another pick that I ended up giving them an A+, and that was Oklahoma edge rusher Ronnie Perkins. Ronnie Perkins at the 96th pick is an absolute steal. I was shocked that he fell this far. Not including the trade back with the Patriots pick at 46, and I'd have been shocked that Ronnie Perkins was even gone by their 2nd round pick. Getting him with one of their compensatory picks in the 3rd round is tremendous value. Gives them more depth. I just really, really like this pick. You sign Matthew Judon from the Ravens in free agency. You have him and Ronnie Perkins off the edge. That's absolutely phenomenal. You get Barmore, defense tackle, and Perkins. And Matt Jones. I gave all 3 of these picks A+. They're just so phenomenal here. I really think you can get much better than these 3 picks here by the New England Patriots. As we continue here, the 4th round, though, was kind of an interesting and different opinion. Like I said, my first 3 picks I graded for the New England Patriots were all A+. This pick here, I actually had them going in B minus. In the fourth round, they took Oklahoma running back Rahandre Stevenson. This was not best player available. This was not the best running back available. Chuba Hubbard was available, the running back from Oklahoma State. I don't think they should have took a running back this early. This really surprised me because this is not really a Belichick type of pick here. But I gave it a B minus. Realistically, though, I mean, it's going to be one of those guys, kind of a head scratcher pick. Why did Belichick do that? And then he ends up like being a 3-time Pro Bowler. Seems like that is pretty much everything with the Patriots. Don't make anybody into a All-Pro. As we continue here, another pick I really like quite a bit in the fifth round with the 177th pick overall. They took Michigan linebacker Cameron McGrone. I was actually surprised this was not Dylan Moses, but as the draft continued, I was just really crazy to see how Dylan Moses was not even drafted. But Cameron McGrone, they took Michigan defensive players the past couple of seasons. McGrone, he's coming off an injury, so he's probably not going to play, not at all for the Patriots this upcoming season. But getting him here, I really, really like this pick. This was best player available. And despite his injury, Belichick has a plan. I mean, he can, learn from some of those guys on the defense and then come back in year two and just ball out on New England's defense. So I love that pick there. As we continue here in round 6, with the 188th pick overall, they took Missouri safety Joshua Bledsoe. I give this pick a B. There are better players available here, but it was not a bad pick by any means. Safety Patrick Chung actually retired in the offseason, so they could really use some safety help. They drafted Kyle Duggar, the safety from Lenore Ryan, last season in the second round, and he did not play a whole ton of games last season. I think they could use more depth at safety, so I really like that pick there in the 6th round. The 7th round, with the 197th pick overall, they selected Colorado offensive tackle William Sherman. I gave this pick a B. I could use more help on the offensive line. Sherman was one of the better offensive tackles available. This was a nice pickup for the Patriots, so I gave that pick a B. Really good value pick there. We were last with the draft. In the 7th round, the 242nd pick overall, they take USC wide receiver Trey Nixon. I like this pick quite a bit too. I give Cam Newton or Matt Jones, whoever your starting quarterback week 1 is going to be, some more weapons. I thought Trey Nixon was an underrated receiver. And I also liked his, teammate at UCF, wide receiver Marlon Williams, quite a bit here too. Either one of those picks would have been great, but getting Nixon here is a nice pickup, so I gave that pick a B. So that was the Patriots, grading each pick there for them. And my overall grade for the New England Patriots was an A. I thought the first 3 rounds, they literally could have done any better. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. But, as we go through 4 to 7, that's kind of what they a little bit. But overall, I thought it was really nice. And to finish it off, we have the New York Jets, And so with the Jets, obviously they picked 2nd overall. And I loved this pick here. I know there's some people who do not like it. I do not understand. BYU quarterback Zach Wilson, A+ pick. Anything less than A+ is stupid. I saw some PFF ratings and I had a grade B here, which is just mind-boggling, insane, and ridiculous. I like Zach Wilson more than Trevor Lawrence. I know that's an extremely unpopular opinion. Zach Wilson was my number 1 quarterback heading into the draft, and getting him here is phenomenal for the Jets. You could not have got a better player here at number 2. You're going to have a franchise quarterback like you did with Sam Darnold. And the good thing about getting Zach Wilson here at number 2 is that you're going to give him more weapons. As we look later in these draft picks for the New York Jets, they actually have Zach Wilson quite a bit of weapons like they did not do with Sam Darnold. So this pick here was absolutely phenomenal. Continue here in the 1st round. They actually traded up back into the 1st round. They had 2 first-round picks. Their first-round pick was from their second first-round pick was with a trade with the Seattle Seahawks, and they traded that pick up with the Minnesota Vikings. They traded a couple of mid-round picks, and they came up and selected USC guard/tackle Elijah Vera Tucker. I like this quite a bit too because part of the reason why Sam Darnold struggled so much with the New York Jets was because his offensive line, and that was just so bad. Getting Elijah Vera Tucker here at 14 was a pretty solid pickup. For the Jets, he was arguably the best offensive lineman available. I gave it an A. I think this may be just a tad bit of a reach, though. But overall, I thought it was a really good pickup by the New York Jets. As we continue here in round 2, they took Ole Miss wide receiver Elijah Moore. I gave this pick an A+. This was a just phenomenal pick, phenomenal value pick here by the New York Jets. You have Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims. You signed Corey Davis in the offseason. All of a sudden, you have lots of pieces and lots of good guys for Zach Wilson to throw to. Elijah Moore was arguably the best route runner in the draft. Getting him here at the 34th pick is still a surprise that he was not a first-round pick. So this was a fantastic pick here by the Jets. They did not have a third-round pick, but with their fourth-round pick, they selected UNC running back Michael Carter. I gave this pick an A+. This is tremendous value. He was the best running back available, and I desperately need running back. I have LaMichael Pirine, but that's literally it, pretty much. I really like this Carter pick here. This was, like I said, he was the best running back available. This was a team need. This was best player available. I don't think the Jets could have got a better pick here at 107 with getting Michael Carter here. As we continue here in the 5th round, they took Auburn safety Jamie Sherwood with the 146th pick. They could use some safety depth. I think this was a pretty good pickup. I gave it a B. Sherwood was one of the better cities available here, so I like this pick quite a bit. Actually, picked 8 picks just after that with the 154th pick. They actually picked Michael Carter, but this time it's a safety from Duke. I gave this pick a B. The Jets secondary is very inconsistent. I thought this was a pretty nice pickup, despite doubling down on safety. I thought it was a pretty good pickup here by the New York Jets. They actually have one other 5th-round pick, and with their other 5th-round pick, they selected Pittsburgh cornerback Jason Pinnock. I give this pick an A. This was actually an extremely underrated pick. In 2020, Jason Pinnock actually allowed the lowest completion percentage among cornerbacks with at least 20 targets. He had just 30% completion percentage in 2020 with cornerbacks with at least 20 targets to them. He's a very underrated corner. I'm not sure why he dropped as far at 175th overall, but it was a great value pickup here by the New York Jets. As we continue here, in the 6th round, they actually took another safety. This time it was Florida State safety Hamsaw Nazardine. I gave this pick an A-. It's great value pick. It's a really good pickup. But this is your 3rd safety, just in like the 3 picks. Not sure why they took so many safeties. I guess maybe trying to find their Jamal Adams again. But Nazardine, he was here with a really good pickup. I like this pick quite a bit. The only reason I had an A- was because they already took 2 safeties before him. With their other 6th-round pick, they actually have 3 6th-round picks. They took Kentucky cornerback Brandon Eccles. I gave this pick an A-. Eccles was one of the more underrated corners as we went into the later rounds. But I thought this was a great pick up here by the Jets. Look at the later rounds. Robert Saleh is really getting some of these defensive players, and he's a defensive-minded guy. So maybe he likes what he sees in lots of these late-round sleepers that they get here in the 5th, 6th rounds. With their one final pick here in the 6th round, they selected Arkansas defense tackle Jonathan Marshall. They could use some more depth here on the defensive tackle here. I like this pick quite a bit, and I gave it a B. So I thought the Jets did a fantastic job drafting here. I actually gave them a grade A. I thought overall the AFC East, all teams, they did a really, really nice job drafting. I don't think any team did bad by any means. You can really look at, the 4 AFC East teams to make a case that this division had the best drafts for each team. So the overall grades for each team, once again, the AFC East overall draft grades, the Dolphins had a B, the Patriots had an A, the Bills had an A, and the Jets had an A. I'm really excited to see what the AFC East is like this upcoming season. If the Patriots will go back to the playoffs, if the Bills can repeat being AFC East divisional champions, how will the Jets do with Zach Wilson? And if Tua can bounce back and, from his inconsistency and lead Miami to the playoffs for the first time in over 5 years. Thank you all so much for listening. If you could like this video and subscribe to my channel, I would really, really appreciate it. And I will see you next time on the Sports Suit Show.